Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa and I am back to continue reading from the book Letters and Numbers written by Zachary K. Hubbard. I encourage each of you to go and purchase the book, and you can do so by visiting his YouTube channels, Gematria Effect News or Gematria Effect Sports. And in each of the video he does, he leaves a link for the book, in the description of each of his videos. The book costs $5. The book is a PDF file. So it will come to you via email, and you would just save it to whatever device you're going to use to read the book. But he also left the copyright off the book, so you could take it to your local bindery and have it bound into a book for your own personal library if you like. You can upload it to lulu.com and they will bind it into a book and mail it back to you for a fee. But the book is phenomenal. I can't say enough about this book. I'm so glad that he wrote this book, and I think every human on this planet that can read should read this book. I wish it was in everyone's language. Maybe eventually it will be, but this information is just stupendous. It needs to be known. Zachary K. Hubbard also wrote a second book called Number Games, and you can go and get that book by visiting his blog page, gematriaeffectnews.blogspot.com. The first thing you will see when you arrive at his blog page is the advertising for the book, and as you scroll down you will see the information on how to purchase the book within the United States and abroad. And this book is phenomenal also. I haven't read the whole thing yet, but I have read some of it, and it is just, still mind-blowing. And also read his blogs on that he writes every day. He blogs every day. He's been blogging for at least 6 years. He has another blog page also called freetofindtruth.blogspot.com, and he'd been blogging there for about 5 years or more until he started the new page. So read the content. He has a ton of content for you to read, and there's nothing for you to believe in. These are things that you can prove yourself. And the code of Gematria is used every single day within your news, within your media. This is how our history has been orchestrated, with this code. And it's just, it's just mind-blowing. But also, make sure you watch Zachary K. Hubbard's videos. He has a lot of excellent videos, but the meat and potatoes of Gematria is in his book. So make sure you get those books and enlighten yourself to what has been hidden from the masses for far, far too long. Okay, so with that said, I am going to be reading chapter 15 of the book Letters and Numbers, and it is called September 11th, Tarot Cards, Skull and Bones, and the M.I.C. And I don't remember what the M.I.C. is, but as we read, I'm sure he will enlighten us to that. So, here we go, chapter 15. Annually, there is a Jewish day of remembrance for the destruction of the two temples, Solomon's temple and Herod's temple, which were said to be destroyed on the same day of the same year in history, the 9th day of the 5th month of the Jewish calendar, in the years 587 BCE and 70 CE, respectively. The first time it was the Babylonians credited with the destruction. The second time it was the Romans, in response to the Jewish revolt of Rome in 66 CE, which means the long noses brought it on, just like prior to World War II, with the boycott of Germany beginning April 1st, 1933. Excuse me. The year 66 CE is crucial, as we will soon get to. But let us begin with the Gematria of Tisha B'Av, and that is spelled Tisha''B''A''V, Tisha B'Av. Okay, which is the Jewish name for the remembrance of the demise of the two temples. Using Jewish Gematria, we will decode Tisha B'Av. Al-Qaeda terrorist attack, Jihadis, Jihadis, division, and ossuary. If you don't know what an ossuary is, soon enough you will, and why it matters. Notice as we decode, each name and phrase equates to 9/11. similar to the date September 11, or 9/11, when the Twin Towers fell, and what we know as the National Emergency Dialing Code in the United States of America, 911. So, I'm going to let you see the decodes of the words, and then I'll continue reading them. You might want to get a screenshot of it, and you can do it, practice it yourself. Okay. But anyway, Tisha B'Av equates to 9/11 in Jewish Gematria. Jihadist equates to 9/11 Jewish Gematria. Division equates to 9/11 Jewish Gematria. Ossuary equates to 9/11 Jewish Gematria. Al-Qaeda terrorist attack equates to 9/11 in Jewish Gematria. Well, it just says Jewish, but still Jewish Gematria. In light of the two temples being in Jerusalem, let us not overlook the pertinent Gematria. Keep in mind, September 11th can be expressed 9/11 or 11/9. Okay? Star of David equates to 119 in ordinal cipher. Orthodox equates to 119. In English, Tisha B'Av is translated as 9th of Av, where Av, A-V, is the 5th month of the Jewish calendar year. This is where the significance of the number 134 ties in. Notice the current leader of Israel, Netanyahu, has gematria to match, and Benjamin Netanyahu, his full name in Hebrew, also corresponds. So, Tisha B'Av equates to 134 reverse ordinal. 9th of Av equates to 134 in ordinal. Terrorize equates to 134 in ordinal. Netanyahu 134 in the reverse ordinal. And Benjamin Netanyahu in Jewish equates to 134 in Hebrew ordinal. And I'll show you that in just a few minutes, for a few seconds, so that you can understand the decode. And you can also look at the ones at the bottom. And I probably won't show you a lot because he's going to be decoding a lot in this chapter. But yeah, this stuff is just so pertinent. Wow. Okay, this is a number relevant to the New World Order as well. New World Order equates to 134 in the ALW Kabbalah cipher. New World Order equates to 134 in the KFW Kabbalah cipher. On the subject of 134, consider the 2010 Serta commercial of Donald Trump talking to the digital sheep standing on pillars with the numbers 11 and 9 on their sides in light of his campaign slogan, Make America Great Again, summing to 134, as well as the riddle with the hit TV show House of Cards, also summing to 134, and meaning something which is about to come down. Similar to how the film The Martian similar to how in the film The Martian, the main character's 134th day, on the main character's 134th day of being on planet Mars, his base explodes. Not coincidentally, planet Mars equates to 119 as well. So, House of Cards equates to 134 in ordinal. Make America Great Again equates to 134 reverse reduction. Planet Mars equates to 119 in ordinal. Regarding Trump, in his book, The America We Deserve, released January 15, 2000, he writes about bin Laden and makes the statement, I really am convinced we're in danger of the sort of terrorist attacks that will make the bombing of Trade Center 1993 look like kids playing with firecrackers. The book's release was a span of 606 days from the date of September 11, 2001, not too far off from the number 66, which is just ahead. Also, on the subject of Trump, as a reminder, they released the JFK assassination files exactly 134 days after his birthday, on Hillary Clinton's birthday, where the top story was testimony from Secret Service agent Clint Hill. As you now know, the media routinely does two things to us. One, it mocks us. And two, gives us clues for their next move on the grand chessboard, which is the world we share. Absolutely. Just as Trump's passage from his book was foreshadowing of things to come for the World Trade Center, so is the release of the Kennedy files 134 days after his birthday. In that same breath, let us not forget that Melania has Gematria of 134, and she was the first wife of a president to wear baby blue on Inauguration Day since JFK's wife, Jacqueline. Back on the topic of 9/11, recall Solomon's Temple, the first temple to be remembered each year in Tisha B'Av, is extremely important to Freemasonry. And with that same building in mind, consider the third building to fall on September 11, 2001 was the 47-story Salomon Brothers building. Salomon is spelled Salomon. The Salomon Brothers building, Building 7, which we will learn more about ahead. The point to take away is the ritual that was September 11, 2001. Was clearly well planned, Masonic in nature, and absolutely not coincidental. And I want to read that one more time so we can make sure it's in context. Okay, I'm going to read this, the beginning of this paragraph one more time, so just bear with me here. Back on the topic of 9/11, recall Solomon's Temple, the first temple to be remembered each year in Tisha B'Av, is extremely important to Freemasonry. And with that same building in mind, consider the third building to fall on September 11, 2001 was the 47-story Salomon Brothers building, Building 7, which we will learn more about ahead. The point to take away is the ritual that was September 11, 2001, was clearly well planned, Masonic in nature, and absolutely not coincidental. Piling on the evidence to this fact is what transpired in 1968, 2 years after the groundbreaking ceremony of August 5th, 1966. In 1968, each of these relevant events happened, and none by chance. Okay, so 9/11, 911 was made the National Emergency Dialing Code. World Trade Center construction began in Manhattan. George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. Space Odyssey 2001 was released, the movie Space Odyssey 2001. The New York Jets won their only Super Bowl. Think about it, knowing sports are rigged. Keep in mind the year 1968 was 33 years before 2001, the number representing false flag. The number 33 also corresponds with the title of Bush, who was a bonesman like his father, a title given to those who are alumni of the Masonic Order at Yale, which King George II earned in 1968. His birthday, July 6, 1946, the 187th day of the year, is also one with numerology of 33. And better than that, coming a span of 68 days from September 11th, where the number 68 connects to the Gematria of CIA, which his father was once the head of, and a number which we learned the relevance of in regards to how the CIA pushed the term conspiracy theorist after the death of JFK in 1963. Well, in 63. Okay. So the date 7/6/1946 equates to 43. Bonesman equates to 33 in reduction. So the date 7/6/1946, you would add 7 plus 6 plus 1 plus 9 plus 4 plus 6. That equates to 33. Okay. Skull equates to 33 in reverse reduction. Tisha B'Av equates to 33 in septenary cipher. Twin Towers equates to 330 in Frank Baconis. So you would pay attention to the 33. All right. For a moment, let us examine the 1933 definition of terrorism from the Oxford Universal Dictionary. You'll notice part of that definition is government by intimidation, which is exactly what we have in the United States of America, and which is exactly what the fictional people of the novel 1984 had as well. On the subject of terror, there is relevant gematria connecting to 68. As we decode, think about the numerous times the members of the Bush administration used the word terror, 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 terror. So I'm going to read the definition of terrorism, and actually I'm going to show it to you as well so that you can take a screenshot possibly, or read it if you can. But I am going to read that definition. So, terrorism. This is from 1795. Okay. A system of terror. Government by intimidation. The system of the terror. 1793 to 1794. Okay, a policy intended to strike with terror those against whom it is adopted. The fact of terrorizing, or a condition of being terrorized. Okay, the word terror itself, T-E-R-R-O-R, terror, equates to 68 in reverse ordinal. The word CIA, well, the acronym CIA equates to 68 reverse ordinal. On the subject of the Bush turds and the groundbreaking for the WTCs in 1966, World Trade Centers, in 1966, on August 5th, a date that can be written 5/8. Let me remind you of the significant gematria pertaining to the number. We'll begin with Bush and George W. Bush, who was born to the shit stain, who was born to be the shit stain that was the face of the nation when his sinister plot unfolded. So, the name Bush equates to 58 reverse ordinal. The name George W. Bush equates to 58 in reduction. Freemasonry equates to 58 in reduction. Fraternal equates to 58 in reverse reduction. Secret society equates to 58 in reduction. Solomon's temple equates to 58 in reduction. Herod's temple equates to 58 reverse reduction. Twin Towers equates to 58 reverse reduction. Twin Towers equates to 58 in reduction. S counted as 10. The word 2, like TWO, the number 2 written as a word. TWO equates to 58 in the ordinal cipher. Jerusalem equates to 58 reverse reduction. Biblical equates to 58 reverse reduction. Craftsman equates to 58 reverse reduction. Tracing board equates to 58 in reduction. United States equates to 58 in reduction cipher. S counted as 10. Washington equates to 58 in reduction. S counted as 10. We the people equates to 58 in reduction. Power equates to 58 in reverse ordinal. Press, like the press equates to 58 reverse ordinal. Agenda equates to 58 in Jewish gematria. Al-Qaeda. Sorry guys, I was getting a call, but I'll decline that. Okay, getting back to the reading. Okay, agenda equates to 58 Jewish gematria. Al-Qaeda equates to 58 reverse reduction. E counted as 2. And I will show you guys the decodes of all of those words that have relationship to each other, and they all equate to the same numerical value and are used when needed. Sorry about that light bulb up there. It's probably making it a little hard to see, but that's on page 310, and I'm using the PDF file. So also, New World Order equates to 58 in the Chaldean cipher. Catholic Church equates to 58 in the septenary cipher. Alright, moving right along. As for the year of the groundbreaking in 66, reminding of the Jewish revolt of Rome in 66 CE, recall that the number 66 is the 11th triangular number. In the case of September 11, 2001, it was also New Year's Day for the Christian Coptic calendar, which some historians contend is the real birthday of Jesus, a name having gematria of 11 in reduction, as we learned. Notice how Coptic equates to 66 in ordinal gematria, corresponding with the number of books in most Bibles. So yes, Coptic equates to 66 in the ordinal cipher. We're now going to connect the dots for how the destruction of the Twin Towers was symbolically supposed to be the crucifying of Christ, which the long noses love to do again and again in a number of ways, from the murdering of men to the scripting of sports games. On the subject of 11 and Jesus, the master number, the World Trade Center towers appeared as massive 11s in the New York City skyline, which is located in the 11th state in order of statehood. Buildings 1 and 2 were also 110 stories each, a number not far off from 11, and where flight AA-11 hit World Trade Center 1 on the 11th day of the month. Even more, the letters AA break down to 1 and 1, since A is the first letter. As for AA-11 hitting World Trade Center 1, it also reminds that September 11th is the day leaving 111 days left in the year, which corresponds with the gematria of New York, summing to 111 in ordinal gematria, as well as Coptic Orthodox Church. The number 111 was how I knew the Mets would be in the 111th World Series in spring training of that year, which was closed out on November 1st, shortly after Matt Harvey allowed the first run against the Mets on his 111th pitch against a batter with a .111 average in the World Series. My goodness. So New York equates to 111 in the ordinal cipher. Coptic Orthodox Church equates to 111 in reduction. On the subject of the Coptic faith, Coptic calendar also equates to 254, where September 11th is the 254th day of the year of the Gregorian calendar. The words light and time also equate to 254 in English extended gematria. So, Coptic calendar 254 reverse ordinal. Time 254 English extended. Light 254 in the English extended cipher as well. In addition to September 11 being New Year's Day of the Coptic calendar, it is also the day known as Nayrouz, Nayrouz, which is to remember the martyrs such as Jesus Christ. The first month of the Coptic calendar is also called Tout, Tout, where both Nayrouz and Tout equate to 33, the same age Jesus was believed to have been crucified. Okay. Nayrouz equates to 33, reverse reduction. Tout, thought or thought, equates to 33, reverse reduction. H counted as 10. To take it a step further, Nayrouz also has Francis Bacon Gematria of 146, matching the value of Jesus Christ in reverse ordinal, a number we have learned about in light of the Greeks who were conquered by the Romans in 146 BCE. Wow. I'm telling you. Adding to the symbolism of the World Trade Center, the World Trade Center was located on the 40th parallel north and the 74th meridian west. Both numbers highly relevant to Jesus Christ. As you have learned, Jesus Christ, Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, and parables each share gematria of 74. Even more, the word crucify has reduction gematria of 40. Thus, the coordinates could not have been any more perfect than they were for the ritual that was, all as a massive tribute to the synagogue of Satan, as they Sun Tzu, I'm assuming he meant, as the Sun Tzu taught, know your enemy. It is an enemy that loves to terrorize in events centered around the numbers 33 and 74 especially, where again the World Trade Centers were 33 years old at the time of their demise on the 74th meridian west. When the World Trade Centers collapsed, they had existed for 33 years, but they had only been open for a little more than 28 years, having their grand opening on April 4th, 1973, the 5-year anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. in '68. Recall what you know about April 4th and the number 144, symbolizing time. Also recall what you know about the number 73 and sacrifice, which is what the World Trade Centers were built for, a sacrifice in time. At the time of their construction, landlords despised them because New York City was full of open office space and rents were already low due to the number of vacancies. Thus, there was no economic or sensible reason to build even more office space, further driving down the value of rentable units. What these landlords didn't understand then, and probably still don't to this day, is that these towers were not constructed for the purpose of financial gain, but for planned agenda and for their planned demise in 2001 at the start of the new century. It is why Hollywood was sure to center their cameras on them in decades worth of films produced by their studios, making sure the whole world knew about their existence. As for the numbers 28 and 33, when written out as words, 28 and 33, recall how they each sum to 156. Again, out of the first 100 numbers, they're the only two that have an ordinal gematria of 156 when written out. This is important because the number 911 is the 156th prime number. Interestingly, in New York history, a B-52 bomber flew into the Empire State Building on July 28, 1945, the day leaving 156 days left in the year, and the building didn't collapse to the ground. Was it predictive programming for things to come a little more than 56 years later? It also reminds that Pizza Hut, established June 15, 1958, or 15/6, 156, put out a commercial making fun of 9/11 truth seekers in their 58th year of existence, the summer of 2016. Not by coincidence, the word pizza has reduction gematria of 33. Even more, the word architect has gematria of 156, and the construction firm that built the World Trade Centers, called Magnuson Klemennik, and that is spelled Magnuson Magnuson Klemennik Associates, and I'm probably not pronouncing that word correctly, but at least I give you the spelling and you can figure out how to pronounce it. So let me start over. Okay, even more, the word architect has gematria of 156, and the construction firm that built the World Trade Center, Magnuson Klemennik Associates, has name gematria of 156 plus more. Alrighty. So Magnuson Klemennik Associates equates to 156 in reduction, S counted as 10, K counted as 11. Architect equates to 156 reverse ordinal. False flag equates to 156 Jewish gematria. Alrighty. The construction firm that built the World Trade Center towers is based out of Seattle, Washington, on the 47th parallel north. Fitting then that Building 7, the Salomon Brothers building, was 47 floors tall, and each floor having 47,000 square feet of space. In light of it being Building 7, recall the relationship between 4 and 7, where the divisors of 4 sum to 7, and 7 is the fourth prime number. Don't forget that in Hebrew gematria, both Judaism and Elohim equate to 47, and the Zionist nation of Israel was recognized in 47. These numbers also correspond perfectly with the man blamed for the attack, Osama bin Laden, who George W. Bush commonly called the cave dweller. As we decode both names, recall that buildings 1 and 2 were each 110 stories tall. So, Osama bin Laden equates to 47 in reduction cipher. Osama bin Laden equates to 110 in ordinal. Bin Laden equates to 47 reverse reduction. Bin Laden equates to 110 in the LCH Kabbalah cipher. Cave dweller equates to 47 reduction. Cave dweller equates to 110 in ordinal. Excuse me. And terrorist equates to 47 in septenary. It was a fitting nickname for the president, where again, president sums to 47 in reduction and 110 in ordinal. Even better, in the case of George W. Bush, he was born on the 187th day of the calendar year, and cave dweller also has reverse ordinal gematria of 187, that special number to Freemasonry, the Torah, and time. Cave dweller equates to 187 reverse ordinal. Orthodox equates to 1087 trigonal. Wow. The nickname even connects to the date of the attack. And Skull and Bones. Cave Dweller equates to 41 in septenary. Skull and Bones equates to 41 in reduction. And Skull and Bones equates to 41 in the septenary cipher. 9/11/2001, 9 plus 11 plus 20 plus 01 equates to 41. Consider George H.W. Bush a member of Skull and Bones, just the same as his son was the 41st president, and the man who gave a speech on September 11th, 1990, 11 years to the day, about a world freer of terrorism. Just like in 1984, it says one thing and do the opposite. Okay. Excuse me. Just like in 1984, it says one thing and does the opposite. Also factoring in the 19 supposed hijackers, where the number 19 represents chaos, were said to be from Saudi Arabia, like Osama bin Laden, who was part of the powerful oil and real estate family that originates out of the lone nation in the world still named after the family. That nation is also commonly called the 51st U.S. state, as it is one of the U.S.'s key allies in the region, in addition to Israel. Let us now examine how Saudi Arabia and Al-Qaeda equate to 41 in Gematria terms, the supposed terror network and its home that was once financed by the CIA to fight Russian expansion in Afghanistan per the feds. As we decode, don't forget, USA has Gematria of 41 and 119. Wow. So, Saudi Arabia equates to 41 in the reduction cipher. Al-Qaeda equates to 41 in the ordinal cipher. On the subject of Al-Qaeda, the name has Gematria of 102, corresponding with how long the attack lasted, 102 minutes, as well as the Gematria of fuck you and United States of America. Excuse me. History Channel even put out a documentary on the attack using the link as the title of the film. 102 minutes that changed America, and I will show you that really quickly here. 102 minutes that changed America. Suckers. Okay. Al-Qaeda equates to 102 in Jewish Gematria. Keep in mind, 102 minutes is 1 hour and 42 minutes. Terrorist equates to 142. In all likelihood, and that was in the ordinal cipher, terrorist equates to 142 ordinal. In all likelihood, the attackers actually worked for the FBI, which is a terrorist organization, working to instill fear in the American people, first and foremost. You will recall in Sumerian Gematria, FBI sums to 102 as well. Speaking of terrorists, the terrorist state of Israel was on site for the date of September 11, 2001, when it was reported the FBI arrested a group of men from Israel near the George Washington Bridge on the New Jersey side, who stated they were in the United States to record the attacks of that date, meaning they had foreknowledge. As a consequence, they were sent back to Israel at the expense of the U.S. taxpayers. Dan Rather and even CNN, among other major media outlets, covered this story. First, let us examine the Gematria of George Washington Bridge and New Jersey, which both sum to 119, connecting with Star of David and Orthodox, among other important things such as all-seeing eye. Then let us cover the name the media gave them, the dancing Israelis, because reportedly they were celebrating when they were detained by the FBI. So, George Washington Bridge equates to 119 in reverse reduction. New Jersey equates to 119 reverse ordinal. Related, on the subject of New Jersey, on May 15, 2017, there was a suspicious plane crash in an industrial park in New Jersey exactly 119 days before the 16-year anniversary of September 11, 2001 tragedy. It happened in Carlstadt, New Jersey, of Bergen County, or Bergen is spelled B-E-R-G-E-N, Bergen or Bergen County, where both locations have Gematria of 111. As for the dancing Israelis, as we decode, recall the significance of 144, how the number 57 connects to Jews, and how the number 41 syncs with the date of the attack, among other details reported. So, dancing Israelis equates to 144 in ordinal. Dancing Israelis equates to 57 in septenary. Dancing Israelis equates to 41 in Chaldean. Wow. Most important of all is that Israel and Saudi Arabia were connected to the attack, even reported by the mainstream media, and they're our allies, who we give billions of dollars to each year as taxpayers. Just think about it. How can it be? Here was clear evidence our allies were in part responsible for the attack, yet there were no consequences for these nations. Instead, we attacked Afghanistan and Iraq, nations that had absolutely zero involvement in the event. This is what the Zionists call the Goyim treatment, putting the truth in front of everyone's face and expecting them to be too stupid to act on it or put two and two together, which is exactly what happened. But we'll make up for it yet, Truth Seeker. We most certainly will. Speaking of the Zionists, as we learned, one of their signature numbers is 77, representing the gematria of Zionist, Judaism, theater, and power, as well as United States. Let's add to the list with the events of September 11th, 2001, where, as mentioned earlier, Flight 77 hit the 77-foot tall Pentagon on the 77th meridian west, precisely 77 minutes after taking off, departing at 8:20 a.m. and colliding with the building at 9:37 a.m. Of course, to date, the FBI has only released a few frames of the supposed aircraft colliding with the structure, which appears to be more missile-like than plane-like. Even more, Washington, D.C. is the most guarded and video-recorded airspace in the world, so the release of such little and unclear evidence is quite incriminating, something that should be easily understood by all. Absolutely, man. So, September 11th, written as word, even 11th. September 11th, written as words, equates to 77 in reduction. World Trade Center equates to 77 in reduction. Twin Towers equates to 77 reverse reduction. E counted as 10. Pancake eating contest equates to 77 in reduction. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why is pancake eating contest on the list? The answer is because of a story put out by the Zionist long-nosed media, April 3rd, 2017, the 93rd day of the calendar year. To the left is a headline from People magazine about a sorority sister in the Greek system who was the daughter of a 9/11 hero who died in the collapse of the Twin Towers, which supposedly collapsed due to what is known as the pancake theory, which is monumental mocking, taking advantage of all the people who don't have a clue about physics, or that it is impossible for a steel frame building to collapse from any type of fire. To date, only 3 steel frame buildings in the history of the world has collapsed from fire, and those are buildings 1, 2, and 7 on September 11th, 2001. None of which really collapsed from fire. That is just the lie perpetrated against the people. Notice that sequence of numbers 1, 2, 7, something like the Gematria of Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, equating to 127 in reduction. Wow, so I'll show you guys the headline. And I know I've marked this page up, but it says 20-year-old sorority sister dies following pancake eating contest. That's amazing. On campus. Okay. So I'm going to read the rest of the story under the headline. So, Caitlin Nelson of Clark, New Jersey, was competing in a Greek life food eating competition on March 30th when she began shaking uncontrollably and fell to the floor, according to local reports. Nelson's father, James Nelson, was a Port Authority officer killed in September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. He was helping evacuate people from the 27th floor of one of the Twin Towers when it collapsed, according to CTPost.com. Caitlin was 5 years old at the time of her father's death. Wow. So it says, notice the name of the 20-year-old. Alright, and death equals 20 in reduction. So Caitlin Nelson. Her initials are CN, where C is the 3rd letter and N is the 14th letter. Something like 3.14 for pi. This is curious because the time it took from the first tower to collapse, which was 9:59 a.m., until the time of the collapse of Building 7, which was 5:21 p.m., was 7 hours and 22 minutes, reminding of the equation to solve for pi. It also reminds of the time Lincoln died at 7:22 a.m. and how United States of America sums to 722 in the primes cipher. If you flip the number around, making it 227, recall that it is the 49th prime number. In the case of her first name, Caitlin, it has Gematria of 49, same as America and same as Twin Towers, where the project for Twin Towers was proposed while the 49th governor of New York was in office, Nelson Rockefeller. Boy, this is some evil stuff. So, the name Caitlin equates to 49 reverse reduction. Twin Towers equates to 49 in reduction. America equates to 49 reverse reduction. Washington equates to 49 reverse reduction. Also, don't overlook that it was March 30th, a date having numerology of 33, corresponding with false flag and Tisha B'Av. March 30th is also the 89th day of the year, where the number 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number, and we've well established the significance of the number 11. Also interesting about March 30th, 2017, is that it was a date with a life lesson number of 43, calculated as follows. So, 3/30/2017, you would add 3 plus 30 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 7. That equates to 43. Consider the news came on April 3rd or 4/3. The number 43 corresponds with George W. Bush out of Yale in New Haven, Connecticut, who was the 43rd president. The word Masonic and even Twin Towers. So, Yale equates to 43 in ordinal. New Haven CT equates to 43 reduction. Masonic equates to 43 reverse reduction. Twin Towers equates to 43 Chaldean cipher. Okay. So here's a headline. It's called The Blind Sheik, and Blind Sheik is in quotation marks. Convicted in 1993 World Trade bombing, dies in U.S. prison. Okay. As for April 3rd being the 93rd day of the year, it reminds of February 26, 1993 World Trade Center bombing that was blamed on the Blind Sheik, and who reportedly died on the 49th day of 2017, February 18th, where the word death sums to 218 in English Extended Gematria. Before we get to the 93 bombing, I want you to know that the Blind Sheik died 74 days before his 79th birthday, which would have been May 3rd, 2017, having been born May 3rd, 1938. May 3rd is the 123rd day of the year. Conspiracy equates to 123 in ordinal. Also, before we get to the bombing, Blind Sheik has ordinal gematria of 93, corresponding with the year of the attack, where he became the patsy for it, and the gematria of propaganda. So propaganda equates to 93 as well. So Blind Sheik equates to 93 in ordinal. Abdel Rahman equates to 74 reverse reduction. Omar equates to 47 in ordinal. So the name, here we go, Omar Abdel Rahman, 1993 World Trade Center bombing plotter, dies. Wow. So Abdel Rahman, ABDELRAHMAN, equates to 218 in reverse ordinal. Death equates to 218 English Extended. Twin Towers equates to 218 Francis Bacon. Recall, the 93 World Trade Center bombing happened on February 26, 1993. And there is a relationship between the number 226 and similar to 2/26 and 93, where planet sums to 226 in Jewish gematria and Saturn sums to 93 in ordinal. There is also a relationship between the number 226 and the number 156. So, written as words, 226 equates to 93 in reduction. 156, written as words, equates to 226 in the ordinal cipher. For the record, the word planets, plural, planets, has gematria of 33. And the three most recently discovered planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, were all discovered using mathematics on dates with numerology connections to 33 as follows. So, the word planets equates to 33, reduction, S counted as 10. Uranus, March 13, 1781. So, you have 3 plus 13 plus 1 plus 7 plus 8 plus 1 equates to 33. Neptune, found September 23rd, 1846. Discovered, I should say, by mathematics. On September 23rd, 1846, you would add 9 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 8 plus 4 plus 6. It equates to 33. Discovered in France on the 47th French New Year. Pluto discovered February 18, 1930. 2 plus 18 plus 1 plus 9 plus 3 plus 0 equates to 33. Something funny about the discovery of Pluto is it has ordinal gematria of 84, and it was discovered in the United States of America 84 years after the discovery of Neptune by France, which followed the discovery of Uranus by the UK. Also, the year Pluto was discovered was the same year Disney unleashed the character Pluto. Now back on topic. The 93 World Trade Center bombing was perfectly coordinated with September 11, 2001, and here is how. It came precisely 3,119 days before September 11, 2001, where the number 3,119 is the 444th prime number, corresponding with the Sumerian gematria of Masonic and Jewish. If you look closely, you'll notice the number sequence 311 and 119 also exists within the number 3,119. This is fascinating because March 11, 1961, or 311, was the date the World Trade Center project was proposed by David Rockefeller. He was the family member of the 49th governor of New York, Nelson Rockefeller. 41 years to the day later, it would also become the start of the Tribute in Light, where large purple beams from 88 lamps would be shown into the New York City night sky to remember the fallen towers from 6 months earlier. Of course, the other sequence in the number 119 is a lot like the date September 11th or 11/9. Okay, Tribute in Light equates to 174 in ordinal cipher. The number sequence 3,119 is also similar to the numerical breakdown of the phrase I am, which is an important motto to Freemasonry, coming from the Bible, Exodus 3:14. So, Exodus 3:14, King James Version. And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said thus, shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. So, I am is 9 plus 1 plus 13. And that would be 23, but I guess he's showing you the 911 and the 311 sequence, but it's excellent. Notice how the numerical breakdown is the number 3,119 in reverse, absolutely. And the part about Israel, in other words, the Freemasons were playing God again. But what else is new? Absolutely. What else is new? Gosh, my nose keeps itching the tip. What else is new? By 2001, they had been at this practice for centuries. In case any of you long noses are reading right now, I got a message for you. You're not. You're not God. Oh, Zach, you're so funny. What's even more important about the 93 World Trade Center bombing is what happened just before it in 1992, when Bill Clinton helped end the 41-year underground weapons testing program, where atomic and nuclear bombs had been detonated thousands of times over beneath the surface of the earth between November 29th, 1951 and September 23rd, 1992. For the record, November 29th is the 333rd day of the year, and September 23rd, New Year's Day on the French Republican calendar. The result of the French Revolution that ended in 1799 leaves 99 days left in the year. What's interesting about the program ending in 92 is how the year corresponds with the Gematria of Manhattan, where the weapons being detonated were the product of the Manhattan Project. Wow. So Manhattan equates to 92 in ordinal. On the subject of Flight 92, Flight AA-11 took off at 7:59 a.m., the 479th minute of the day, which is the 92nd prime number. It was the first plane to crash in Manhattan. In the 93 World Trade Center bombing, it was said that the terrorists, led by the blind sheik, planted their demolition charges the wrong way, and as a result blew massive craters into the ground instead of upwards toward the towers. The media reported that had the charges been planted correctly, they could have brought the towers crumbling to the ground. Because of the massive craters caused, the site had to shut down for a period of time to repair the damage under the towers and ensure that the area was secure to preserve the World Trade Center complex above. What I theorize happened at this point is the charges were set during this repair period that would eventually bring down the towers on the planned date of September 11, 2001, and those charges were the product of 41 years of underground testing. Wow. Where in that period of time and in the thousands of tests conducted, the right combination of explosions were likely discovered. As you likely well know, the World Trade Centers were pulverized to dust on the date of 9/11 attacks, noticeably disintegrating as they collapsed to the ground. If you have forgotten, go back and watch the video footage that is available. Ask yourself, where is the 110 stories of steel? As you'll see, most of it is missing. Thus, a substantial amount of energy was applied to cause whatever did take place. I think the greatest clue comes in what they call the site of destruction of 9/11, which was ground zero. So let me reread that. I think the greatest clue comes in what they called the site of the destruction after 9/11, which was ground zero. Prior to September 11, 2001, the definition of ground zero was the point above or below ground where an atomic or nuclear weapon detonated. And that was it. Now, let's examine a more modern definition, courtesy of dictionary.com. So, ground zero, the point on the surface of the earth or water, directly below, directly above, or at which an atomic or hydrogen bomb explodes. The site of the former World Trade Center in New York City, destroyed in the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. The very beginning or most elementary level. Wow. It's crazy. Wow. Making matters even more interesting is the gematria of ground zero. As we decode, consider it was buildings 1, 2, and 7 that were all demolished, with building 7 being the most mysterious of all in how it fell, seemingly without reason, as it was barely touched by the falling debris from earlier in the day, and not by coincidence was a federal building holding important files for the cases against corporate villains, WorldCom, and Enron, among others. So, ground zero equates to 127 in ordinal. 127. Buildings 1, 2, and 7. The Gematria of Ground Zero also connects to Scottish Rite of Freemasonry in two ways, through 127 and through 43. So Ground Zero equates to 127, like buildings 1, 2, and 7. Wow. Ground Zero also equates to 143 in ordinal. Even better, the name Ground Zero sums to 119 with the ALW Kabbalah cipher. Ground Zero also equates to, oh, that's the same thing. It's just showing you ALW Kabbalah. So Ground Zero, 119. For another clue on this matter, see the Illuminati card game that we discussed earlier in the chapter on Donald Trump. To the left is the card known as the Terrorist Nuke from the same game. Wow. And I'm going to show you that. That is the picture from the Illuminati game. Looking like the Twin Towers, of course. It's crazy. So, the word nuclear equates to 74 in ordinal. Energy equates to 74 in ordinal. Weapon equates to 74 in ordinal. WTCs, the World Trade Centers, are on the 74th meridian west. If you take the time to watch the videos available online from the attack on September 11, it is a well-known fact that bombs detonated in the basement beneath the towers prior to any reports of planes hitting the buildings. There are countless interviews available for browsing from firefighters to civilians, many of which are from the day of and show people covered in soot and debris, not from the collapsed buildings, but from the bombs that went off in the basement prior. There's also plenty of footage of the dust and smoke from the lobbies of the World Trade Center towers prior to them crumbling to the ground. The only reason more people don't know is because so few people are looking for truth, which is something that needs to change. If you're new to this subject, there is a documentary I suggest you watch titled September Clues, where the film captures all of the initial reporting from the day of 9/11/2001. And what you'll see with definitive proof is that no planes hit World Trade Centers 1 or 2. This is proven in two ways. First, all of the initial reporting was about bombs going off in the towers, even from the reporters on the scene. Second, when the reporting changes to planes hit the towers, it shows the first media footage of a plane, Flight 175, supposedly hitting the tower, and it is extremely obvious the plane is very bad special effects, because in the first clip shown, you can see the graphic image of the plane edited into the shot, appearing out of nowhere, and then after supposedly crashing into the tower, flying out the backside of the building with its nose perfectly intact, before the screen is blacked out to hide the glitch. In other words, what is shown is impossible. It is also impossible for anyone to watch this film and deny what is shown, which is why it is a must-see if you have not already. All right. Wow. And I've seen that footage before too. It is, man. What you'll learn is the news was not able to provide video footage of Flight AA-11, the first plane to supposedly hit a tower, until that evening. This is likely because they were working to create something more believable than the images put out earlier in the day, which were not shown again on the news after the morning of September 11th. Had they, the whole country would have realized the truth. The images were faked. Yeah, if they had kept showing those images. Wow. So, More clues that the planes shown were faked can be understood through looking at published propaganda of the past. In 1994, Vice magazine put out the article titled, "What is Al-Qaeda?" Take the time to look up this article and read it. It theorizes the possibility of the towers crumbling down and Al-Qaeda using planes to topple the towers. So I'm going to show you this page here, the clip from Vice magazine. Okay. Okay. The mocking is complete. The mocking is complete with a cartoon picture of MTV characters Beavis and Butthead dressed with turbans around their heads, flying planes into the Twin Towers, reminding how on September 11, 2001, the media reported they could not recover the bodies or luggage or much of any planes, but they had quickly found paper passports belonging to the terrorists, box cutter knives, and yes, even turbans. Vice is the same news outfit that now has a television show on HBO where each week the reported story is 100% propaganda based and oftentimes focusing on the fictional threat ISIS, which is supposed to be a more aggressive offshoot of Al-Qaeda, standing for Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, when in reality it means Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. Wow. Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. On the subject, let's examine the gematria of the Islamic State, terminology we hear more and more in the post 9/11 world. So the Islamic State equates to 9/11 English extended. For another prime example of the predictive programming of September 11th from the world of cartoons is what was shown on The Simpsons September 21st, 1997 in an episode titled "The City of New York versus Homer Simpson," which in the septenary cipher sums to 119. Alrighty. In that same episode is the infamous magazine cover shown where a $9 price is clearly displayed right next to the Twin Towers, which substitutes as 11s, forming a clear to read 9/11. As the date numerology of the episode, it is even more revealing, connecting to the collapse of buildings 1, 2, and 7, as well as the gematria of Nehru's summing to 146, which again falls on the date of September 11th each calendar year. So let me show you the Bart Simpson cover there, and then I do the see, 9/11. Absolutely. So as for the date, 9/21/97, you add 9 plus 21 plus 97 and it equates to 127, like buildings 1, 2, and 7. 9/21/1997. 9 plus 21 plus 19 plus 97 equates to 146. Okay. 13 times The Simpsons accurately predicted the future. Yeah, right. The Simpsons are well known for their predictive programming from 9/11 to the selection of Donald Trump to countless of other topics. On March 9th, 2017, Time magazine even wrote a feature piece on the accomplishments of the cartoon successfully predicting the future, oftentimes long in advance. However, they were certain to leave out the part about the September 11th prediction. By knowing the code as we do, it isn't hard to see why their writer is ahead of the curve. Let us take a moment to decode the name of the creator of the show, Matthew Abraham Groening, as it reveals a 119, 137, and a 223. Let us also consider the date the article was published. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to erase all of these marks I have on this page, so that way you can see them as well, because I be reading this book a lot and I tend to mark it up, and it makes it a little hard for me to read it. So I'm going to show you Matthew Abraham Groening and the decode of his name there, and you could probably take a screenshot of that, but it's just amazing. Okay, so Matthew Abraham Groening equates to 119 reverse reduction. Matthew Abraham Groening equates to 137 reverse reduction, H counted as 10. Matthew Abraham Groening equates to 223 in the ordinal cipher. On the subject of time and the March 9th article by Time, don't forget that Saturn is the keeper of it per the occult, and Saturn has Gematria of 93 in the ordinal method, and 119 in the Francis Bacon method, which also reminds of the 93 World Trade Center bombing and the September 11 attack date. In light of what we learned about the crucifix of Christ in the chapter on the Greeks, don't forget the relationship with the number 93 in regards to crucifix, God's Son, Nazareth, and more, because as we learned, the symbolism of the death of Jesus was highly present in what transpired on 9/11. For more on time and relating to Jesus Christ, the ultimate predictive programming for September 11, 2001 came on March 4th, 2001, 191 days before the attack. Recall, 9/11 is the 43rd prime, and March 4th can be expressed as 4/3, where 43 corresponds with the Gematria of Twin Towers, as well as Jesus Christ, and where Society of Jesus equates to 191. In the case of the predictive programming, it was titled The Lone Gunman, summing to 191 in the LCH Kabbalah. As we decode, pay mind to the fact that 191 is a reshuffling of the same numbers that make up 9/11 and 119. So the lone gunman equates to 191 LCH Kabbalah, as he said, and Solomon's Temple equates to 191 ALW Kabbalah. The Lone Gunman episode from March 4th, 2001, shown on Fox, was a pilot episode about the U.S. government flying a commercial airliner into the World Trade Center complex in New York for the sake of creating a fictional terrorist element for the purpose of creating a new threat for the people of the United States to go to war with since the Cold War was over. If you have never seen this episode, the entire thing is available for viewing at multiple sites on the internet still to this day. That said, I'd hurry up and watch it now before Google buys all of the web and censors it entirely as the conglomerate Alphabet Incorporated. Oh man, as the conglomerate Alphabet Inc., which owns Google, is Let me reread that. With that said, I'd hurry up and watch it now before Google buys all of the web and censors it, as the conglomerate Alphabet Incorporated, which owns Google, is on a buying and censoring frenzy at the time of the release of this book. What the episode of The Lone Gunman was expressing was in line with what the psychologist George Simmel taught. That is, the people of a nation need a common enemy to be united and to find their own identity in life. So, George or Gorg is Georg. Simmel, Simmel. It equates to 174 in reverse ordinal. New World Order equates to 174 in ordinal. False flag equates to 174 in reverse ordinal. Number of the beast equates to 174 in ordinal. New York equates to 666 in the Sumerian cipher. Fox equates to 666 English extended. Something else fascinating about the gematria of the show, The Lone Gunman, is how it sums to 63, the same as Rabbinic Judaism, and how it debuted on the 63rd day of the year, March 4th, 2001. The reasoning for 63 being behind the gematria of Rabbinic Judaism comes from the Mishnah, Jewish writings from the time of the Second Temple, where Mishnah is made of 63 tractates or sections. Also important is that those who are of Rabbinic Judaism follow the Talmud, where Jews are permitted to lie to Gentiles. The Lone Gunman equates to 63 reduction. Rabbinic Judaism equates to 63 in reduction. In terms of predictive programming for September 11, beyond what we have already discussed, it ranged from TV shows to Hollywood films to comic books to commercials to music albums and more. The examples are countless, and the truth seekers and speakers of the web have amassed hundreds of clear examples of what was foretold long before it transpired. If you have never taken the time to search the web for these offerings, I highly recommend you do so when you get a chance, as it will add to your arsenal of knowledge, things to speak about when you are attempting to wake your friends and family from their slumber, if they are in fact still sleeping on the truth about September 11, 2001. My blog at freetofindtruth.blogspot.com is loaded on this subject as well, to help advance you in your research. Absolutely. Speaking of music, you might recall after September 11th, the banning of certain songs from the radio, such as Notorious B.I.G.'s Juicy, because of the lyrics "blow up like the World Trade." While those lyrics likely did not have anything to do with what was planned for the same tragic day, the lyrics had an easy parallel to the events of 9/11 to understand. At the same time, there were artists such as Tool, who the night of September 11, 2001, were touring in Michigan and closed their show, which was delayed until September 13th, with the song Lateralus, and that is spelled Lateralus, which is based on sacred geometry and the Fibonacci sequence, and being the same song that their latest album at the time was named after, which released 119 days before September 11th on May 15th, 2001, and where Lateralus equates to 134 in ordinal gematria. Before the band performed the song, to close out the show, the frontman Maynard James Keenan gave a speech about how the U.S. government was responsible for what happened that day, and the years ahead would be dark times. But as people, we could choose to remain positive and use our own creativity to not lose hope. But the words he used were art says. I bring this up because it is clear that many people in the entertainment industry knew what was coming long before it did. For another example, the musician Prince, when closing out his European tour in 1998 for his last show, told the audience he was sad he had to return to the United States because the people back home didn't know what was coming. And then, with the band playing, he broke into a song singing, "I've got to go back to America. I've got to get ready for the bomb. Osama bin Laden getting ready to bomb. America, you better watch out. Osama bin Laden getting ready to bomb." 2001 hit me, and I sure heard that before. I was like, oh my God. This is sick. Man. Revelations such as this give new meaning to his song about partying like it's 1999. The point to take away is the elites, which include those of the world of entertainment, are living on a tier of understanding that has not been available to we the people who are living with a different set of information than they. Obviously, this isn't right, and the dynamic needs to be changed, or better said, brought into balance. There can no longer be an Illuminati, the enlightened ones, with the rest of us living in the dark. We need to work to change the balance, truth seeker. We need to help everyone reach the light. And put an end to the secrets and an end to the lies. No longer can the mentality be to have one up on your common man for one's own selfish gain, but instead to uplift your common man so that they can see as clearly as the most enlightened person sees, which is absolutely possible in the information age which we now live. Absolutely. As for even more important predictive programming, there was the Project for the New American Century, known as PNAC, that wrote a document in 1997 called Rebuilding America's Defenses that asked for a new Pearl Harbor. And New Pearl Harbor equates to 156 in ordinal. PNAC, the acronym PNAC, equates to 74 reverse ordinal. Oh my goodness. Keep in mind, oh gosh, my allergies it's like my nose don't want to itch until I start reading for whatever reason. But here we go. Keep in mind the number 911 is the 156th prime, and the attack took place on the 74th meridian west, the number corresponding with Masonic and more. The PNAC documents call for an aggressive foreign military policy aimed at removing Saddam Hussein and other considered enemies of the United States. In its words, it calls for a new Pearl Harbor to catapult the agenda with the following statement. Further, the process of transformation, even if it brings revolutionary change, is likely to be a long one, absent some catastrophic and catalyzing event like a new Pearl Harbor. The statement about Saddam Hussein is also written. We have no choice but to reinstall in our foes and friends the fear that matches to any great power. Only a war against Saddam Hussein will decisively restore the awe that protects American interests abroad and citizens at home. Wow. Think about how the war with Saddam Hussein would come not long after the towers fell. And it was a war based entirely in false reasons. It was based entirely in false reasons. Wow. That have only made the world less safe and given rise to increased hate and division. Paul Wolfowitz, a member of the PNAC, is said to be the chief author of the document. He turned 58 years old exactly 102 days after September 11th, on December 22nd, 2001. Numbers that should jump out at you in light of what we have learned. Upon the selection of George W. Bush, he became a member of the administration, serving as U.S. Deputy of Secretary of Defense. Prior to that, he had been the 10th president of the World Bank. It reminds of that great documentary, All Wars Are Bankers' Wars. It also reminds how well coordinated all of these events are and how everything is done by the code. Was Paul Wolfowitz's birthday really December 22nd, 1943, or was it changed? To further illustrate the point of how well coordinated things are, take this poster from 1968, and I'm going to show that to you right now. It is, man, predictions from 1968. Look at that poster. Wow. Amazing. Okay, to further illustrate the point of how well coordinated things are, take this poster from 1968, the year the 9/11 plan went into effect. Notice the slogan for the promotion of the World Trade Center buildings as their construction was getting underway. Okay, it says the mountain comes to Manhattan. Wow. New York Times by the Committee for a Reasonable World Trade Center, 1968 AD. But the mountain comes to Manhattan. Wow. Okay, let's keep it moving here. Okay, where did I lost my spot? Okay, it reads, the mountain comes to Manhattan. This phrase generates an ordinal gematria of 322, a number corresponding with the coined term by the 34th President Eisenhower, which was the military-industrial complex. Let us examine the overlap. So, the mountain comes to Manhattan equates to 322 in ordinal. Military-industrial complex as well equates to 322 in the ordinal cipher. The phrase from the poster also sums to 146 in reverse reduction. If you've never heard President Dwight Eisenhower's warning about the military-industrial complex in the wake of World War II, given January 17, 1961, I recommend you look it up and listen to the entire speech very carefully. The portion where he uses the phrase military-industrial complex is as follows. This conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, and even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties, our democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machine of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together. Wow. Amazing. Sadly, truth seeker, we don't have an alert and knowledgeable citizenry yet. But that is what this book is about to change, providing the most useful knowledge to counter the terrorist tyrants who hide in world government positions, exploiting the people who pay their salaries and the children who are forced to learn from their history books. In the near future, no longer will children be raised and duped into hating people they have no reason to hate, as the tyrants would like it. No longer will Big Brother raise them to think it is wise to give up liberties in exchange for security. On the subject of the tyrants planting seeds of hate and division in children, let's revisit the Gematria of Abrahamic religions. What are Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, as well as ancient mystery religions, which includes Hermeticism, alchemy, and Kabbalah, as well as the practice of Gematria. For it is these spiritualities that people are being divided amongst, and it is being done with the knowledge of these old mystery religions dating back to Babylon. So, Abrahamic religions equates to 322. Reversed ordinal. Ancient mystery religions equates to 322 reversed ordinal. Let us not forget how ancient mystery religions also connects to 119 and other related gematria values corresponding with the September 11, 2001 attack. So, ancient mystery religions equates to 119 in reduction. Ancient mystery religions equates to 187 reverse reduction E counted as 22. Ancient mystery religions equates to 74 in the Chaldean cipher. For as long as American history has been recorded, the people of the nation have been made to hate others with the involvement of the number 322. For an example, from nearly 4 centuries ago, it was March 22nd, 1622, that supposedly the Indian massacre of the Jamestown colony took place. According to the reports put out, an entire colony was murdered in cold blood with not a survivor left. This news was circulated in pamphlets and papers, calling for the people of the area to band together and to fight and kill the local native population, so the next British colony didn't have to fall victim to the ruthlessness of the savages. But take a minute to think about the story. No one survived, thus there were no witnesses to tell the tale, so how could it be circulated that Indians were responsible? No matter, the people bought into the lie, and a native genocide was underway. Out of this needless killing, based in a lie, came the concept of Virginians, a new and unique identity and evolution of just being British colonists. If you take the time to research this story, you'll find that one of the great curiosities of it is the carving left in a tree where the settlers were killed. The carving read Croatoan, C-R-O-A-T-O-A-N. Let us examine the gematria of this word, as it reveals the real killers. So, the word Croatoan, it equates to 33 in reduction. Croatoan equates to 48 reverse reduction. Croatoan equates to 129, Francis Bacon, and Croatoan equates to 66 in Frank Baconus. And I'm going to show you this word because I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but let's just see here. I'll let you look at it and the decoding of it. It could be Croatoan, I'm not sure, but anywho, that's it. All right. Oops. Uh-oh, did I go too far? I don't even know. I totally lost my page. Terribly sorry. What in the world did I do here? Yes, I've gone too far. Sorry about that, and I don't remember what page I was on. But I will find, as a matter of fact, let me just find type in Croatoan. Croatoan. And it should give me a list of, here we go. Yay, I got back to my page. See, that is the beauty of having it in the electronic file format. So I got back to where I needed to be. All right. So, page 326. Wow, and I was open page 400 and something. Okay, don't forget the relationship of 33 to Masonry, 48 to Freemason, and 129 to America, and 166 to Francis Bacon's colonization scheme, or that secret society has gematria of 166. Wow. For the Freemason killers leaving their trademark for going on 4 centuries, it is finally going to catch up with them, Truth Seeker, and I'm hoping that by the time the 400-year anniversary of this event rolls around, justice will have been served. Also, on the subject of 166, I have another good one. Twin Towers equates to 166 in ordinal. Man. Uh-oh, and here goes the Skull and Bones and their number 322. Their signature number on a lot of things in history. Okay, for another relevant point about the number 322. It corresponds with the elite fraternity at Yale in New Haven, Connecticut, which is Skull and Bones. Again, the president during the time of September 11th, 2001 was George W. Bush. As a reminder, in 2004, when Bush ran for re-election, his opponent was John Kerry, who was also a member of the same fraternity, which allows 15 members each year. Or in other words, being relatively small. Think about that in light of the free nation, the United States of America, where our elections are said to be free and representation of our democracy. Wow. And a representation of our democracy. In 2004, Tim Russert of NBC's Meet the Press asked both men about being in the same secret society and what 322 meant. Neither man would give an answer, but they both did acknowledge being alumni of the society. Not by chance, Tim Russert would be found dead on his 38th day of being 58 years old, June 13, 2008. If you read the reporting of his death, he died at 2:23 in the afternoon. The flip of 322. Wow. So, 6/13/2008, 6 plus 13 plus 20 plus 8 plus 08 equals 47. Death equates to 38 in ordinal. As for the symbolism of Skull and Bones, it comes from an ossuary, which, as we learn, has gematria of 911. An ossuary is an ancient way of preserving the dead, where a body would be decomposed for 2 years under shallow soil. Then after the flesh was gone, the bones would be collected and put away in a vessel for spiritual safekeeping. The bones were inserted in the vessel in a special order, with the final pieces being the thigh bones, and then the skull on top, which is exactly what the symbol is for Yale's fraternity, with the 322 beneath it. Making matters even more interesting, if you write skull and crossbones, it equates to 223. In ordinal gematria, the reflection of 322 and corresponding with 223 values of Masonic and measure twice, cut once. Wow. So skull and crossbones equates to 223 in ordinal. Solomon's temple equates to 223 KFW Kabbalah. This is a very well thought out system. My goodness. I should also mention that ossuaries are commonly found in ancient churches, and the word church also has gematria connection to 911, which again is the 156 prime, which connects directly to the number 33, the very spiritual number that it is. Church equates to 911 in the square cipher. And on that note, I am going to end the reading here, but I will come back a bit later to finish chapter 15. I will continue on page 327. Sorry for all the mistakes in the reading and the starts and stops, but I hope that you gained enough information to make you want to go and purchase this book, read this book, and share it with your friends and family. You know, we need to wake up to this information. We need to know what is going on in this world. But anyway, you take care, and I will continue reading, and hopefully until I get to the end of the book, and I will be back later. Thank you guys. Bye-bye. Oh, give the video a like and a share so someone else can find this information. Thank you.